See here. Hello, good people, and welcome to yet another episode of the Talks Talk. And we start off where we left last time, and we talked about a little bit about the timing of when the children or the pupils for primary and secondary schools are supposed to report in the morning and leave in the afternoon. And I guess I promised to um, I hoped to make sure that maybe we look at the actual laws or the rules that state on those guidelines. And today I made quite some research on the same, and we want to jump right into it. And I want to say that in Kenya we have very good laws, very good recommendations on paper. On paper we have magnificent kind of work, recommendable kind of work that you would recommend to anyone, and on paper it's perfect. A good example is the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, the Kenya Kwanza plan. It was a perfect script like that of a Hollywood movie. Perfect script that landed that we have finally realized that it landed us in quite some trouble. We made a mistake. We have to forgive ourselves and learn and move forward. Therefore, henceforth, in Kenya we have a lot of task forces being created to attend to some issues, and the work done. Most of these works done have no question, but it is a way of government to hash down or tone down a kind of rebellion, a kind of rejection to government projects or to government intention. But the work done on this probably workforce task forces, it's a commendable job. It is done by people who really go into it to make sure that they perform and actually they give their best to whatever job they have been given. Unfortunately, even with this kind of task forces and reports and on these task forces, very little is done. You realize it is just for to hash up some narrative, to hash up some rejection towards maybe government policies, and it is quite unfortunate. If we were to go back to all these task forces and the reports they bring out, even among the most contentious kind of reports like that of BBI, we have others like the Waki report. These are reports that were thoroughly looked into and worked into, but never got a chance to be implemented. Probably you realize that if we were to go back and peruse these reports at a time when we are thinking about looking at our constitution and the amendments that have been done and the amendments that are yet to be done, and the things that we ought to change, these reports will go a long way in guiding us on how maybe to change or to rectify or to amend areas where we deem fit to rectify. Moving forward, we need to focus and put our focus on implementation and not just setups on these reports. We need not do more reports. Currently, we realize that the government has proposed to have two committees on the university funding model to give a report on the findings, but we realize this is something that would have been done way before. This is not the first cluster to go. This year's is not the first cluster to go into university using this university funding model. Actually, it is the second, and unfortunately, you realize that there was some research done, but was not people friendly. Was public participation was very low, even in implementation of this university funding model. The implementation has been done without bringing about everyone involved in whatever outcome this funding model would bring. I am very sure that the committee is given the work to look in the university funding model. They will do a tremendous job. They will do a good job. But unfortunately, the purpose is not actually to give recommendations. The purpose is actually to slow down whatever the demonstrations universities have been planning. You realize that Tisa happened, and some people are out on the streets regarding the university funding model. But really, you realize also the media was somehow gagged to make sure that they don't report most of it. But yes, they were out. A few universities, especially in the CBD, in Nairobi CBD, some university students took to the streets to express their grievances and their dissatisfaction in the university funding model. And you realize that these committees have come at a point where so much is happening around the university funding model and around the education system in the universities, whereas it would have been done way before the moment the students and some stakeholders started complaining about the university funding model. That was the appropriate time to do that, but now it is coming in to try and salvage the situation. Well, I will go back into what I had mentioned yesterday, and I want us to look at one of the reports that was made, and this is in regards to the CBC curriculum, the other contentious, quite contentious, because even the parents themselves don't are yet to really understand and digest what CBC means and what CBC entails. Every now and then in the evening hours, you'll find that parents here and there are rushing to cyber cafes, rushing to buy some stuff that have been requested by the teachers, and you wonder, did it have to happen in the evening that parents and their students have to rush all over in town trying to find something that has been asked for in the school or in matters CBC. Utapata wazazi huko nje wakinunua uzi ya kushona, crochet needles, knitting needles, and quite a lot of stuff, photocopies for pages, photocopies for maybe a human body in the evening. I ought to believe that there should be a plan where the teachers, and most specifically the JSS teachers, prepare the parents and the students in advance on the classes and lessons for that week, or for that probably for that week, so that the parent and the student can prepare thoroughly on those classes. You realize that if a parent and the student doesn't find whatever has been requested by the teachers at night, that kid, that child is on the verge of losing some very variable time in class, bearing in mind that he or she might not have the necessary requirements for that class, given the time that given the time that was offered to make sure that they have this equipment. And I want us to look at the guidelines for implementation of junior secondary education. This is a report that was brought out by the Ministry of Education, State Department for Basic Education. There is another report quite similar to this on basic education. I want to maybe it is quite not clear, but it is Ministry of Education, State Department for Basic Education, guidelines for implementation of junior secondary education, January 2023. This has happened in this regime, in the regime that took over in 2022, and you will wonder at what stage are they in terms of implementing the curriculum-based education, the CBC. And I want to look at the few things that most parents have not yet been able to go through, or they have gone through, but they have nowhere to maybe ask or seek clarification on a few things. And I want us to look at page 39. It talks about the subjects that these students should be having. And I want to look at, I don't want to look at each and every part of the contents. Maybe we shall look at it slowly, bit by bit. And in a place here, it says that JSS teacher shall be allocated 27 lessons per week. This will include lessons from the 2 or 3 optional subject areas of specialization. I want to read to you the compulsory subjects that are these are English, Kiswahili / KSL for learners who are deaf, KSL, mathematics, integrated science, health education, pre-technical studies, social studies that entails citizenship, geography, and history, religious education that entails CRE, IRE, HRE, business studies, agriculture, life skills education, physical education, and sports. This sums up to a total of around let's say they talk of 39 plus 6, that sums up to 45. And for optional, where this statement says a JSS teacher shall be allocated 27 lessons per week. This will include lessons from the 2 or 3 optional subject areas of specialization. The optional subjects, any 2. And any 2, that is foreign languages, that is Arabic, French, German, Mandarin. Then indigenous languages, home science, computer science, visual arts, performing arts, sign and language. In this report, dated January 2023, they say a student should have done around 45 lessons per week. 39 plus 6, that is 39 plus 6 to make it 45 per week. That is English. A student should have done English in intervals of 5 lessons in every week. Kiswahili, 4 lessons in every week. Mathematics, 5 lessons every week. And integrated science, 4 lessons per week. Health education, 2 lessons per week. Pre-technical studies, 4 lessons per week. Social studies, 3. Religious education, 3. Social studies, 3. Agriculture, 3. Life skills education, 1. Physical education physical education and sports, 2. For optional subjects that a student is required to pick either 2 of these, each should be allocated a maximum of 3 lessons per week. You realize that on paper it is well stipulated on the kind of lessons a student should have, and you expect that with these guidelines that a student and the teacher will be able to prepare in advance for lessons that will be coming up. But unfortunately, you find some of these teachers want to dilly-dally and maybe let time pass during the required time by government during the day, and maybe they can compensate that with remedial classes, and that's another way of siphoning the parent to actually pay more cash to the school. And I want to us to look at on another in terms of lessons. In terms of lesson, I want there's this thing. It is the same repeated here on page 18, and it says, and it shows here that in this page it shows the distribution of lessons for the regular and adapted JSC curriculum, and we repeat that English 5, mathematics. This is in terms just what we just talked about, and in terms of lessons per week. English 5, mathematics 5, pre-technical studies 4, Kiswahili /ESL 4, integrated science 4, social studies 3, business studies 3, agriculture 3, religious education 3, health education 2, sports and physical education 2, life skills education 1, option 1 3, and option 2 3. So this option 1 and 2 are the optional subjects that a student should pick. In these optional subjects, any 2. A student may pick any 2, that is foreign languages, indigenous languages, home science, computer science, visual arts, performing arts, and sign language. A student may pick any 2 from those. In this column, it says of number of lessons per week, and they have assigned every lesson 40 minutes. This is what I talked on the previous episode, that the minutes are well stipulated on paper on how this lesson should go about and how they should be handled. That is 40 minutes per lesson. I am very sure that whoever made these guidelines of 40 minutes had a reason to it, and they knew very well that it would be possible to realize the dreams and capabilities and of these students in those 40 minutes. Accumulated 40 minutes for every in a week, that student will have learned so much. It is upon the student, it is upon the teachers to make sure that they don't waste these 40 minutes with the notion that they will get remedial classes, or maybe they will give student assignments to continue pushing the syllabus on themselves without them. They should know that that is their work. Whatever they give the students to go home with, it is to make sure that they understand whatever they learned in class. And it continues to say accordingly, 1, there shall be 9 lessons per day for 5 days, totaling to 45 per week. How many lessons do our students take? Bearing in mind that these students, these people went to school from around 5 p.m., which is not even allowed per these guidelines. 2, the time allocation for each lesson shall be 40 minutes. So you wonder why how they arrive at double lessons. I don't know. I don't want to give false information and maybe overindulge on that, but I would like to know how they arrive at double lessons. Maybe they could give those lessons in 2 different times, one in the morning, one midday, or maybe one in the morning, the other one in the afternoon. 3, English shall be the medium of instruction for all learning areas except Kiswahili, KSL, foreign and indigenous languages. It just confirms the language of communication around schools, and if that is the language of communication around schools, then it should be well let out to children, so they should understand that it is in writing, and it is in guidelines supported by law and the government of Kenya, that English shall be the medium of instruction for all learning areas except Kiswahili and KSL, foreign and indigenous language. I want to look at another thing in these guidelines for January 2023, the tabling of lessons for regular and adapted JSC curriculum. And it says 1, all JSS shall operate from 8:20 to 4 p.m. Monday to Fridays as provided for in the basic education regulations. This is where I wanted us to clarify on what I said in our last episode, that it is well stipulated on when classes should start. That is 8:20 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Note, no 5 a.m., no 9 p.m. or 8 p.m., no Saturdays, note very carefully that it is well in these guidelines, and it is something that had been stipulated in another report, that is this document is saying of Basic Education Regulations 2015. It is something that runs way back. It's not just something that has landed. I repeat that all JSSs shall operate from 8:20 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday, as provided for in the Basic Education Regulations 2015. A continuation on that, and it says 2 activities taking place before the start of lessons, 7 to 8:20 a.m. and after the lessons 4 to 5 p.m. should be indicated on the timetable. It goes further to create some room for other activities that should not arise in the morning, that should not arise as an emergency, but as a part of necessity for the school or for the student. It has given a free time to make sure that you adjust, to make changes, look into things, and that is from 7 to 8:20, around 1 hour 20 minutes, and from 4 to 5. So it is clearly saying here that probably the earliest a pupil should be in school is 7 a.m. The latest a student or a pupil should be in school is 5 p.m. This is not me saying, it is a document published by government on how JSS and basic education should be run in terms of time. You've seen it very well that the earliest a student or a pupil should be in school is 7 a.m. The latest should be 5 p.m. given that they have had lessons from 8:20 to 4 p.m. I rest my case at that. We shall continue. We shall look into more details of this. I am Kimotho HSC, and this is the Talks Talk. Until next time, thank you.